How's it going? My name is Otis Never Soft again, and recently I was diagnosed with erectile dysfunction.
Ain't getting up to anything.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
Yo, the way you said it was crazy.
You nasty.
Talk about saying that's Cassidy, man. Behind the camera director here with another Gigguk reaction. This time we got a Mushoku video. The Mushoku Tensei fans, we've been eating good all summer. We got another banger season that just dropped. The will they, won't they, will he, is he season, as I like to call it, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Can Rudis cure his big little problem? And it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to imagine. How do you create an arc centered around something that only, that some men experience? Not all, but some men experience. But it was a fire ass season, literally amazing, right? I'm excited to see how Gigguk is gonna spin the story. How's he gonna tell the tale? I'm assuming if you're here, you already saw Mushoku Tensei, you're a Mushoku Tensei fan, and you already saw Gigguk's video. So I feel like I was talking coded earlier, but I don't have to. Yo, Rudy's dick was trying to get hard, but he couldn't tell if he was getting hard because it was a shawty or hard because it was a homie. He thought he was in love with that homie, but turns out the homie was a shawty, and I love that shit, man. We also got to see dope displays of power, a little bit of power scaling, the introduction of another isekai member there, and circumstances which that I didn't think we would get to. My favorite part of the season personally was Rudis at the school accidentally becoming the strongest person by defeating a demon king, and then now he has a bunch of these beast girls just working for him. I like to go bossa, always calling him boss and shit. It was such a good ass season. But we're gonna jump to this one because I want to see how Gigguk felt about it and see if he was able to get it up and maintain it for the whole season. Reaction starts now.
Mushoku Tensei Season 1 was like... Wow. Oh god, it's so beautiful. Oh god, it's so high. Oh god.
Or stab.
Bread. And now Season 2 was like, alright, let's see what Rudius is getting up to now.
How's it going? My name is Otis Never Soft again, and recently I was diagnosed with erectile dysfunction.
Oh.
Yes.
He ain't getting up to anything.
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
When you've watched anime for a long enough time, you start to think you've seen it all. The same tropes, the same plot developments. It starts to become rare for a series to explore something you haven't seen in some iteration before. So color me surprised when Mushoku Tensei returns, coming off the back of introducing one of the most immersive worlds and genre-defining stories in isekai to go, hey, want to see what happens when the hero can't get his PP hard?
Doesn't work.
We've had some banger anime this year exploring some pretty unique topics. Oshinoko highlighting the darkest...
No, it doesn't work. That was Chris from the last video. When he was trying to put the stuff on the arrow. Nah, that's how I know I've been paying attention, Gigguk. I'm a good student of the game, buddy. I know when I saw it.
Want to see what happens when the hero can't get his PP hard?
Doesn't work.
We've had some banger anime this year exploring some pretty unique topics. Oshinoko highlighting the darker sides of the entertainment industry. Hell's Paradise introducing us to a beautiful but deadly world. Zombie giving us the joyous fantasy every wage slave needs.
Except that they
Heavenly
didn't
Delusion.
finish.
I'm about to try and convince you all that a guy attempting to get a
fire,
hard on for 12 episodes tops all that.
If I told you that a guy not being able to get hard is gonna top everything this season, you tell me that's impossible. But we're about to find out.
Ago, Mushoku Tensei introduced us to one of the most immersive worlds I've ever seen in anime. It was a beautiful, carefully crafted place rich with lore and history that was full of life. This wasn't just an isekai by name, it gave us a new world you felt you could truly get transported to, complemented with character writing that filled the place up with people that felt as alive as its world did. Seeing Rudy's journey through the world truly felt like you were going on an adventure with him, getting swept up in the places he went to and the people he encountered. So much so that when that part of the journey came to an end, you felt as empty as he did, leaving us off with him learning some harsh lessons as he starts his next phase of life. It was a magical journey, so Season 2 had some big shoes to live up to. What adventures was Rudy gonna go on now? What new places were we gonna visit? What new world-shattering developments were we gonna see?
Let's make his dick not work.
Yes, if you haven't heard, the writer made the brave decision to make Rudy dealing with erectile dysfunction a sizable plot thread to the entire season. And I've actually seen people pretty split about it. So I'm here to argue that this arc not only encapsulates everything that Mushoku Tensei is about, but why memes aside, I still enjoyed the hell out of it.
It was a fantastic season.
Here I am. I've reached a point in my career where I'm somehow arguing for erectile dysfunction. I think this My Anime List review
It's a good
sums it up pretty
argue.
well. If you're too busy to read the whole summary, here are 2 points for my review. Bad animation. Bad arc. 7 out of 10.
What?
Now, granted, I know going to My Anime List for serious reviews is like asking crypto bros for financial advice.
Okay,
but these
I
are
was
pretty
like,
much
that
the
sounds
sentiments I've seen
stupid.
floating around. So, let's tackle this. First
Bad
point,
animation?
Bad animation. Mushoku Tensei
What?
Season 1 was an absolute animation masterclass in almost every department. And there was a lot of fears from fans going into the season because some of the key staff members in charge of making it look this good was moving on to other projects. And to be
Okay.
fair, it is a slight downgrade. It isn't polished to the point of being the cinema quality Pierce the Resistance the first season was, but bad? Congratulations.
Yeah,
We
you can't call
downgraded
it
from The
bad.
Last of Us remake on PlayStation 5 to The Last of Us on PlayStation 4. We might have experienced a new
Yeah,
season of anime
okay.
that's felt
No, I was gonna say, listen, I am so sick and tired of everybody saying when the animation either wasn't as good as the last season or the animation like it just isn't as clean, it's bad animation. Y'all niggas was not like us old people watching Dragon Ball fucking Z and 280p split into 4 parts on YouTube. When you're watching that, then come back and talk to me about bad animation, okay? This is not bad animation. It was, honestly, this animation from this season, Mushoku Tensei, I promise you was beating 80% of other animes in this season, if not just in general. Y'all be crazy with that, man. I notice anime fans nowadays, y'all call things bad animation, but it really don't be that bad. Y'all just
like it's had a drop in
bougie.
quality before, but if this is bad animation, 7 Deadly Sins fans are on goddamn suicide watch.
Thank you!
They aren't
Oh my
already.
God.
Considering the production of this took half
'Cause
the
it's
time
not
and
gonna
we
be
didn't have
bad.
to wait 3 more years in between seasons, I am more than happy if this is going to be the quality going forward.
Look at
because
this!
Mushoku Tensei was never just about the amazing animation. Which brings me to the next point. Bad arc.
Today's topic, I'd like to talk about how to fix limp mode.
Alright, this one might take a little longer. Obvious PP memes aside, I think a big turn-off people have had is that there just weren't a lot of major developments. This was a season that really slows things down,
It's an
takes some time to
emotional
explore its
season.
own characters. There are some new interesting lore drops that set things up for future events, but like Vinland Saga earlier this year, the pacing crawled to a standstill in favor of Rudy living his life as a young adult now and being more flaccid than Oedipus waking up in an orphanage. But well,
Oh,
Vinland Saga already
yeah,
proved that you
what?
can completely change things up and turn
I
into a
get it.
slow-paced character drama, and people can still come out of it acknowledging that it's a goddamn masterpiece. So, what's the difference? Well, Thorfinn's character arc never led to this. But I would argue that the slower paced approach to
I hate
storytelling
it
has
here.
always been what sets this show apart from everything else. Mushoku Tensei doesn't have the cool philosophical lines or a main character you want to go off and brag about, but what it does have is
No.
a story that feels so innately real it's almost uncanny. Events and time progression play out in a similar pace you'd expect them to in life. Episode by episode, you don't think much happens, but you know how if you see someone every day you don't really notice any change with them, and then one day you look back to a picture of what they looked like 5 years ago and it's like, what? What? When the fuck did Rudy become a ripped teenager? Characters react and
Yo.
treat each other like people, real people. Every single person, regardless of if they give you 100 lines or 2, give you a sense that they're on their own personal journey as meaningful as Rudy's is. It's his
telling
commitment to
you,
realism
bro.
that makes it such a joy just to be in this world. Meaning
Talk that
even the
talk,
smallest
bro.
developments or character actions hold far more weight than they usually would. What would need to happen in a man's life to learn how to forgive? What happens when you're so hung up on an ex that even your dick stops listening to you? It's embarrassing, it's awkward, it certainly isn't cool, but that's exactly why it seems so oddly realistic in a way few shows could get away with, because it was so on point for a person like Rudy. Rudius has certainly been a divisive character for anyone watching the show. He's done many things to turn a lot of people off, which very much
He's
continues
pretty
all the way
trash.
through to the second season. So, if you're one of those people that find it morally reprehensible seeing a guy act like this and you can't fully invest yourself when this guy is meant to be the protagonist of the story, understandable. Have a nice day. Season 2's not going to change your mind. Rudy is
not.
perverted, he's weird, he's downright creepy, but let's be real. Do you really think that a previously shut-in hentai-addicted virgin transported to a fantasy world without the same moral standards and repercussions of our modern world is going to act any different? Here's what happens when a horny weeb gives in to all their intrusive thoughts. You might not
Terrible.
keep anyone like Rudy around you, but you've probably encountered someone that's come a bit too uncomfortably close to walking down his path. Which is why to
Definitely.
me, he seems just as real as the characters around him. him. This is the arc where we get to see him deal with depression from something that has nothing to do with his previous life. So what earth-shattering thing could be affecting him? Bullying? The gruesome death of a loved one? Nope. Girlfriend troubles. Oh, cheer up, mate. There's plenty of fish in the sea. It seems trivial, but that's why I respect the decision to spend a sizable amount of time exploring it. We forget that even though he was an adult in his previous life, just how emotionally immature he is. We often like to dismiss events that happened in our young years as dumb teenage angst that we've grown past, but shit, man. So much of that stuff sticks with you even if you don't remember it. Maybe your parents said some offhand comment that one time, or a teacher shouted at you for something you did, or, you know, a crush said something mean to you in your most vulnerable moment.
Don't go getting the wrong idea. I only came up here because I felt obligated. You what?
It's moments like these that can shape the way you act going into adulthood, and you probably don't even realize how much you internalized it until it's way too late. And you can see this through every phase of Rudy's struggle with the scars he's carried on from not just his previous life, but the one he has now as well. Guys, in our most loneliest and desperate moments, we'd like to think that we're fucking Ryan Gosling in our mind's eye, sexily brooding by ourselves in a dark corner, but let's be honest, we're probably closer to Rudy in our darkest times. At first, he just keeps to himself and just deals with it, finds other things to distract him, gets called out, doesn't say anything, eventually lashes out, tries to forget his frustrations with the girl, makes things worse, alienates the people around him before erupting in the most toxic and self-destructive way possible.
Yeah, damn!
I never wanted.
This nigga's telling my whole fucking life right now. Gigguk, like, get the fuck out of my diary, bitch. Jesus H. Rutherford.
You're the worst. I never want to see your face again.
Yo, that was one of the trillest moments. Nigga, that was one of the trillest moments, bro. Listen. All right, that moment right there, two things happen. One, you're like, oh, when that nigga said, I'm ready to alt F4, he meant that shit. He was ready to go. Two, this nigga right here, Soul, who just saved him, you know he's the trillest. Because we all know if Rudy wanted to do it, there's no way Soul would have stopped him. Soul with the lightning quick reflexes. Bah! Yo, credit to Soul, bro. Soul's the fastest hands in the South, bro. With the quickness.
This is the type of shit people spend years working through. Can you hasten that development for a fictional story like this? Sure, if you want the instant gratification of seeing someone overcome their internal issues, but like life, there is no easy way to go about this. You can tell me that time has passed, but it's a whole other thing to make me feel the time and effort it takes to get through the smallest bit of your trauma. This is the commitment Mushoku Tensei makes that few series are willing to do. When you see character growth in a story, you normally see this person with some kind of flaw, and through a character arc, they realize this flaw, overcome it, grows a character, and it never becomes an issue again. That particular character arc has now come to an end, and you know, it's great. It's satisfying. It's by the book good storytelling, but in reality, life isn't always as smooth as fiction is. Your mate doesn't give you a single monologue one day and then instantly all the bad things you suddenly realize you want to change about yourself are immediately fixed. Even if you recognize that you want to change, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes commitment. People try, get better, relapse into bad habits, try again, spiral even further down, climb back up, fall back down again. Years can pass and some people might never find that drive to keep trying again. Life isn't always a straight, linear upshot of a journey, and that's what makes Rudy's story so captivating. It takes the time to show you every aspect of his life journey, not just the parts where he takes a positive step. Some episodes he takes one step forward, some he takes 3 steps back. There'll be a 4-episode stint where he makes no progress and doesn't grow as a human being at all, but it has enough faith in you to stick with it because it wants you to be here for the long game. Mushoku Tensei's newest arc might not have the world-shaking plot developments or the high-intensity action scenes, but it made me realize what made the series truly special and why the source material was so goddamn long. This is someone's life story, and it fully commits to showing you the entirety of it, through every up and down, through the fast years and the slow years, like life itself. And because of that, it feels so intimately realistic. You forget that this is a fictional story set in a made-up world. At some points, it felt like I was watching a real biography about a person that really existed. Sometimes I thought it had more in common with an episode of Terrace House that just happened to be set in another world than your typical fantasy story. That's the immersive power this series has, the only series I've ever encountered, that can simultaneously drop my jaw to the floor at a near-death experience, while also making me feel genuine emotional gratification at the sight of a bro popping a boner. By the end of this arc, Rudy still might not be a good person. He might not be the protagonist that deserves our cheers just yet. But you know what? It still feels good to see a guy get even the smallest W in their lives when they worked hard to get it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why erectile dysfunction is the greatest thing to happen to storytelling in the history of isekai.
Correct.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Oh.
Being hard could open a lot of doors for you. Proving you're hard could open a lot of doors for me.
It's hard to go to work.
Inclusion bad animation back on 7 out of 10.
Hey guys,
Bullshit.
hope you enjoyed the
This is Mushoku Tensei by Gigguk. I'll tell you right now, what I really felt from watching this video, right, was Gigguk hit on all the key points of the season so damn perfectly. It's almost annoying how well he was able to articulate exactly the feelings and emotions of the season. Now, me personally, I haven't really seen a lot of people complain or say bad animation, bad arc. I have seen people say it's a slower arc, but what I grew to understood is what a lot of what Gigguk said. What they're showing is an emotionally mature arc and story where they're showing the everyday life, one, but they're showing that like not everything's gonna work the way you think it's gonna work, pun intended, right? And that it's not just overnight that you just overcome something. It's not just time goes by and all of a sudden you're better. You have to actively work on those emotional traumas, triggers, all those types of things. And that's what Rudy really had to do. He really had to put the work in. So with the thing that happened with Eris, onto the thing that happened to Sarah, onto finding Fitz, onto getting to Sophie, bro. It was literally a transformative arc. Not like in power level. They've already established that he's strong. We've already established that Rudis is like the top tier nigga in this bitch, right? But he still has to overeat. Just because you got a new life doesn't mean you're all of a sudden better. Just because you got isekai and you got a new chance doesn't mean you're just gonna automatically defeat those old things from the past. And what I like the most here that a lot of people don't realize, or I feel like a lot of people don't factor in, you take the trauma from his old life because he remembers his old life, and then you start adding on to the trauma that he's gonna face in the current life, getting your family teleported and separated. You go on a crazy ass adventure and journey at like the young ripe age of like 9 or 10 years old to try and get your family back, and then you get a shawty, she lets you hit, and then she runs, she dips on you the next day. That abandonment, the abandonment issues, I can see the trust issues developing. It's such a rich emotional story, and it's such a realistic way of showing how going through those steps, trying to help yourself, can oftentimes just be difficult, and it's not gonna happen overnight. It was perfect. And what it made me realize is anybody who would call this arc as a bad arc, I just had to understand, and I'm gonna hurt some feelings here, and that's okay. I just had to understand that one, either you're not mature enough or you haven't been through anything, so you don't really understand and know why this arc would hit so hard, or two, you're a type of person that you just don't work on yourself. You're not introspective. So you may have these traumas and these issues deep rooted from your childhood or things that happened to you, and you just choose to look the other way, or you just want to be a victim and you carry that trauma with you. So this arc wouldn't interest you because you're not looking at trying to explore self-improvement, fixing traumas, things like that. Or you're so young, or maybe you're inexperienced that you really haven't had anything to like really crush you. The world hasn't shit on your chest, rubbed it in, and told you that you're a good noodle. You know what I mean? You just haven't had like pain. On some real Naruto shit, your swing set story is fucking weak, bro. That's all it is. Anybody who's been through some real shit or overcome or tried to overcome a trauma, I feel like this arc of Mushoku Tensei, it just really spoke to you on like a mature emotional level. And if you're not there, just say that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this arc by all means was not a bad arc. Even calling it a slow arc, I would hard hesitate to call it a slow arc. Because we got a lot of action in the beginning. We got a decent amount of action in the beginning. There's action woven into random episodes where there was danger. Things had to get hit. Fights had to happen. There was random moments of action, and I feel like there was enough backstory and lore drops throughout the season. Finding out there's another isekai person, working on the teleportation issue, and you realize that Orstan might be beefing with the man god. So like there's a lot of little nuggets of information that was dropped throughout the season, along with the emotional story, along with the solve the dick problem. I don't know, man. I feel like this season of Mushoku Tensei was honestly like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. Nothing less. And to say bad animation, if you want to say that it wasn't up to par with last season's animation, just admit that we got spoiled with last season. Because last season, they did not have to go in like that. I promise you. The stuff they did in this season, I would call cost-saving things. Like sometimes, like he's walking in the background, or they're talking, or he's walking in the foreground, or something's happening in the foreground, but the background is just not well animated. Just kind of like, I don't want to say stick figures, but you know, they didn't put as much work and effort into it as they usually would have to make it really feel like it's more alive. But I accept that as a loss, because sometimes it's like, do you want your show animated, or do you want your show shelved for 5 years so it can get the perfect animation team? If you tell me I have to wait 2 years, I'm gonna get like an 8 out of 10 animation, or I have to wait 5 years to get 10 out of 10 animation, maybe I'm greedy, maybe I lack the discipline of instant gratification. But like, if this is the animation I'm getting after 2 years, give me this. But yeah, I went in a little bit. But that's because, like, I ain't gonna lie, Mushoku Tensei legitimately is like top 5 isekais of all time. I almost want to say top 3, and it's not number 3, but I know y'all just gonna come out the woodworks and be like, "Ooh, what about this? Ooh, what about that?" Listen, everybody got their own taste. I know what mine is. Mushoku got it. And my message to the rudest haters, if you made it this far, drop in the comment below. Yo, we don't hate rudest. No, don't comment down below. If you made this far, be like, rudest haters be gone. Rudest haters be gone, bro. Because it's one of those things, like, if you hate the MC so much and he's so trash, why y'all watching the show? I actually appreciate y'all. You know what? In the comments, if you make it, you're going to drop rudest hater appreciation. Rudest hater appreciation. Because those of us that love it, that watch it, we help the show, we help the manga. Those of y'all that hate it and watch it, you help the show, you help the manga. You're just like us for real. I love that for you. If you made this far and you haven't already, go ahead, drop that sub. Go run up Gigguk, tell him D Nasty sent you. Comment down on the original video. D Nasty said, hey. All right, come back and watch this one again. Give a little love to the Rudest Hater Appreciation Club, because they help us keep this going. I'm gonna remain behind the cam as always. Never forget, stay nasty, y'all.
You wanna go? Alright, I'm really fucking shaking, bro.